One, two, three, four West Virginia commits on Monday to start off this week, the second week in a massive recruiting month of June. We're going to talk about it coming up here on Between Eers. Welcome everybody, Schuyler Callihan here with another episode of Between the Eers. Before we get started, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe here to our YouTube channel at West Virginia on SI. If you're watching this on our website, West Virginia on SI, make sure you head over to the YouTube page and show us a little bit of love there. You also get notifications when our new episodes drop throughout the season, which will be every Sunday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And on Thursdays, when football rolls back around, we'll obviously have the Walkthrough Game Day show with Eugene, Napoleon, and myself breaking down that week's matchups and predicting some games around college football. So, yes, as I opened there in the beginning, 4 commits for West Virginia to kick off a huge week of recruiting. Another host weekend coming up, several names that we'll have up on the site for you. We already put up a list for the entire month. It was, I want to say 32, 33 names. Some additions, some subtractions, some changes. So we'll update that list before we get to the weekend. But want to talk about a little on each of these guys that they picked up on Monday. I'll look at what's to come and kind of where this recruiting class needs to go, where they're going to continue to address some areas, and kind of the early consensus early on so far in the class of 2026. So we'll just go kind of in order here, offense to defense. First up was offensive lineman Rhett Morris, picked the Mountaineers over Boston College, James Madison, Virginia Tech, Wake Forest, a few other schools. Coming in at 6'3", 290 pounds, out of Don Bosco Prep in New Jersey, a very decorated football program, one of the better ones in New Jersey, has produced a ton of talent out there. He's going to be an interior offensive lineman. He's got positional flexibility, could be a guard or center. I personally project him as a center. I think he can do both, but great athleticism for an inside guy, can really move, can get stuff done in the run game. So I think, to me, he projects as a center, but he could do both. So center, offensive lineman there. Rhett Morris again out of New Jersey. Don Bosco Prep was one of the actually the only offensive pickup of the 4. Moving to the defensive side of the football, we've got Noah Tishonorf, and this is a big one. Coming all the way from Oregon. He was an Oregon State commit. West Virginia kind of got into the mix there, I would say late-ish in the spring. Really established a good relationship with Coach Bicknell, or excuse me, not Coach Bicknell, but established a good relationship with the coaching staff. I was thinking of Bicknell and the previous guy that we just talked about, the offensive lineman, but established a really strong relationship with the defensive staff, and told me that was really one of the biggest reasons why he chose West Virginia, is he thought this coaching staff was elite. And not just elite, he said the elite of the elite. And that's what allowed him to pull the trigger and move across country, going from his backyard in Corvallis with Oregon State all the way over to West Virginia. Said he didn't really know much about West Virginia or WVU before they entered the mix on the recruiting trail. Said really, Tavon Austin was about the only thing that he knew, but came away blown away with the facilities, the coaching staff's relationship with him, their vision for him. So a huge pickup there. Tishonorf, over his last 2 seasons, these are the numbers he's put up. 102 tackles, 38 tackles for loss, 16 sacks, 9 quarterback hurries. Outside of Oregon State, had some offers from some lower tier FBS schools, some FCS offers as well, but also had the likes of UNLV, Utah State, Washington State, Wyoming, Fresno State, Nevada, so on and so forth. So no big-time offers really outside of West Virginia, but I'm telling you, when you flip this kid's tape on, there's a reason why Zach Alley and those guys on the defensive side of the ball identified him and said they need to go get him now, because what he's going to put on tape this year as a senior is probably going to lead to some schools come knocking at the door late in the process. And West Virginia's going to, I have a feeling West Virginia's going to have to fight some of those schools off all the way to signing day because they got in late, and West Virginia's going to benefit, I think, from being able to hold on, getting in when they did. And I think this is a really good, big-time pickup here with Noah Tishonorf. Again, out of Oregon, a former Oregon State commit. Defensive line sticking up front here with the front seven. Cam Mallerie, 6'2", 295, out of Moody, Alabama. Had several offers, both from the group of six and the Power Four. Some notable ones here. You had Jack State, Cincinnati, Georgia Tech, FIU, Louisville, Liberty, Missouri, Memphis, Marshall, Vanderbilt, Troy, Stanford, and so on and so forth. Last season as a junior, he had 96 tackles, 22 TFLs, 12 sacks. And for his career, 40 tackles for loss, 15 sacks. But this is the big one that stands out, 226 tackles. Really, really good for a guy that's probably going to project. Well, I shouldn't say he's going to project as an inside guy because I think he could really do both. But regardless, that's a ton of tackles for a defensive lineman the first 3 years of your career to be knocking on the door of really 300 tackles. So huge pickup there. And the fourth and final one West Virginia had, which was actually the first one to announce, and that is Samaj Hill, the defensive back out of St. Joe's Prep in Philadelphia, PA. St. Joe's Prep has sent a lot of players to West Virginia over the years, especially in recent years, even under the previous coaching staff. If you remember, I believe that's Josiah Trotter, that's Brandon Raymond, so on and so forth. I believe that's the same pipeline there, if memory serves me right. But he told West Virginia on SI, I knew this was the school for me once I visited, and that's why he shut things down. Didn't feel like he needed to reevaluate his top schools or anything. He knew when he left that this was the place for him. So 6'1" and 180 pounds, was a James Madison commit. So two flips on the day from Oregon State and James Madison, both on the defensive side. 3 of the 4 commits coming on defense. And my overall thoughts kind of early on this class is it's very, very concerning. I shouldn't say very concerned, that it is concerning. I think the coaching staff was very concerned about the secondary in the shape that it was in when they took it over, the shape that it's still kind of currently in. They have clearly made it a priority here early on that they need to get that fixed. Not just the top line guys, but they need to get that 2 deep, that 3 deep, really kind of set in stone, built up, and raise the floor of that group. Not only the cornerbacks and the safeties, but the nickels, the big nickels who are going to be playing kind of like a safety hybrid linebacker type position, with Henry Weinrich as the coach there. But they have recruited several safeties. They've already landed a handful of them. They've got a few more on their list that they're targeting. And my thing that I've kind of really taken away, and I mean, this is completely obvious. Every time you land a commit or you're putting a class together, you're trying to infuse competition. But when you're adding guys in large numbers at the same position, there is a clear reason for that. They're trying to infuse competition in the secondary, and also they're trying to infuse competition in the quarterback room. They already have Jaron Hughley committed, but they are still going after Legend Bay. The quarterback out of Texas, a dual threat kid, can really, really run it. I'm going to be interested to see how that kind of pans out if they do land Legend Bay, because if that's the case, I have a feeling it's going to prompt one of these guys already on the roster to move, whether that's Max Brown, whether that's Khalil Wilkins, Scotty Fox. I highly doubted Scotty Fox. My early guess would be Khalil Wilkins, but I don't want to speculate too much about that stuff because there's not even any guarantee that they're going to land a second quarterback in this class. But that's where it's kind of trending. Even if they don't land Legend Bay, that's the guy that they really want. They're going to try their best to land another quarterback in this class. And I don't blame Rich Rod for it. I don't blame the coaching staff for it. They've got to get that position right. If you don't have that position right, you're in deep trouble, especially early on in the rebuild. You need a playmaker at that position. And if they don't get that this year out of Nico Markiol or out of Jalen Henderson, then they might even dip into the transfer portal next year. So if they don't get Legend Bay and it's just Jaron Hughley, I think what will determine getting that second quarterback would be the play of the starter this year or the play of the two guys combined. If they don't feel very confident moving forward with Markiol or Henderson or whoever it may be, that's where the portal is going to come into play and maybe go get another veteran. So that's kind of my overall thoughts on the class kind of as a whole. I don't want to go too deep into the weeds here with every single guy and kind of make this a way too early National Signing Day show because these things are changing every single day. You're going to have kids commit, decommit. You're going to have kids flip. Yeah, there's just so much time between now and signing day. I don't really like to get too deep into scouting reports or anything like that. We'll save that for the National Signing Day show. We will have that. We'll go through every single kid. May not go 5 minutes deep on every single kid, but we'll definitely hit some of the nuggets that we feel are important. We'll talk about the main guys in the class and so on and so forth. So we'll save that for later on down the road. But felt like this was kind of an episode that we had to do. 4 kids, 1 day, really starting the month off strong. Again, another official visit weekend coming up. Several guys that we'll have on the list on West Virginia on SI. So make sure you go bookmark it. Follow us on X at SI_WVU. You can follow me at Callihan_. We'll be tweeting out updates all throughout the week and weekend. And there's going to be a couple more commits here before we even get to that weekend. So make sure you're following us. Get the notifications here on YouTube as well. And you'll be up to date faster than anywhere else. We'll have it here for you. So thank you guys for checking out this episode of Between the Ears. I'm Schuyler Callihan. Make sure you smash that like and subscribe button here on our page at West Virginia on SI. And we'll be back tomorrow with another episode here on BTE.